I know I only wear this hat during the month of December, but I gotta say, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm wearing, like, really nice clothes underneath my robe, I would totally look like one of those, like, old cartoons where, like, that guy had, like, the sleeping cap on and a robe. That'd be kind of neat. It's also kind of a shame this isn't happening, like, right before the 4th of July either, because, you know, red, white, blue. Okay. So, let's talk about my low, my high, my act of kindness. Wow. For starters, my low was, can't really think of anything bad that, you know, happened, per se. I did sort of get in an argument with my father over something, but, you know, as soon as my mom got home and we had dinner, you know, everything sort of quieted down a little. So that was nice. Speaking of which, my high was, you know, I got to spend time with my folks again last night. That was quite nice. In fact, I'm going to be spending time with my father today, which sounds kind of weird considering I just said I had a fight with him yesterday. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. Considering that everything that's happened in 2020, spending the day with someone that you just had an argument with is not the worst thing in the world. Let's be real here. So, yeah, and we had a nice dinner. I'll be talking about that momentarily. And my act of kindness was actually, I had to pick up dinner. And I brought it to my folks for us all to have a nice, you know, family meal. So with that said, good morning, happy Saturday, everybody. I actually said yesterday that yesterday was the last Friday to go to, for at least my family, to get food from the Corny Country Club on a Friday. And we did. And it was quite nice. My mother had their fish fry, which is actually a pretty decent fish fry. Comes with a tartar sauce, lemon. She got fries, because, you know, fish and chips. My father and I each both got steaks, cooked medium rare to our liking, also with fries. Because, I mean, come on, what's better than steak and fries? And this wasn't all, you know, carb and protein and fat heavy. We had our leafy greens as well. We each had salads, you know, Italian dressing with crumbly blue cheese. And this is actually something that I figured out a while ago, but in case you haven't tried it yet, this is what you do. If you get like salad from a restaurant and it could in a to-go container, and it comes like little bowls of like, you know, like cheese and dressing and stuff like that. Here's what you do. You open up those little things, pour on top of the salad, close like the salad container, and you shake. And like that essentially tosses the entire salad for you. It's genius. And it works. And plus, like, in this case, it was like the clear to-go containers, so you could actually see what was going on as you were shaking it. It was awesome. I like that sort of thing. You know, it's the simple things that get me, you know? But, right. Today is Saturday. School would be in session at this time. So with that said, how about we do a little bit of class in session today? Alright, so, last week I talked about the very first science class I took at Horseheads High School. That was during the school year. So, how about I talk about the second one? After biology, if you were a junior or you were lucky enough to take biology your freshman year like me, and I took my sophomore year, and I took biology, and I took biology my freshman year. In my sophomore year, I took chemistry. Now, chemistry was actually, believe it or not, a more difficult class for me than I thought immediately going in. Because here's how the years start. Now, I'm a sophomore. I've come to know quite a few people. Some of them are older than me, but, you know, that's fine. and I'm taking chemistry, and I actually see the seating arrangement. Immediately I noticed that, it's alphabetical order. Like, you have like, let's say you had 26 kids in the class, let's say. Like, the first row would be read this way, A, B, C, D, like alphabetical order going from A to Z until, it ends, right? And I actually see a lot of people I know. I'm like, oh, right, this is awesome. This would be a great class. And so, immediately I'm thinking, okay, this is actually pretty nice. And in the beginning, everything was fine. I was learning a lot of stuff about chemistry, all sorts of, chemical phenomena that happen, terminology that we actually use a lot, but we tend to take for granted because it's so simple in some cases. And some of the labs are great. Like, seriously, the best lab, hands down, was, and this is something you can do with your kids at home, by the way. You take like a Cool Whip container or something, right? And keep it off the side. You fill it with a little bit of ice, and you pour salt over that ice and put it in the Cool Whip container, right? In a plastic Ziploc baggie, you fill it with milk, sugar, and whatever sort of flavoring you want. It could be like chocolate syrup or vanilla extract, something, right? You zip up the Ziploc baggie, put that in the Cool Whip container that has the ice and the salt, and you shake. And that makes ice cream. It is awesome. So, I'm sure like you can find videos like this all over, YouTube and stuff. But see, what happens is the salt is actually what makes the ice so much colder than it normally would be that winds up freezing, the milk, the sugar, and all that other stuff to make the ice cream. That's really cool. Like, we learn how pressure works for making like a potato gun. It was actually, was that in chemistry or physics? Sorry, I'm going to be talking about physics like a week from now, so actually I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been chemistry. And we learned about, we got to work with Bunsen burners. It was great for a little bit. Bunsen burners labs, it was great for a little bit. But as time went on, things did get more difficult, and I really wasn't the greatest studier, and, I didn't really care so much. So it got hard for me really quickly. And, like, I wasn't doing so great on quizzes and tests and stuff. And, like, eventually things did get hard. And I would eventually come to learn it, but it wouldn't be, as smooth as it ought to have been. And that part made it hard, but another thing also made it hard as well. See, in my biology video a week ago, I talked about how, I talked a little bit of how, I did start noticing how pretty girls were. And, let's be honest, I always knew growing up that I was straight, or something like that. So, if you're part of the LGBTQIA community, God bless you. It's a wonderful community, wonderful people. But, I'm straight, so that's just how it is. Anyway, I say this because it was around, again, middle of freshman year when I started noticing how pretty girls were. By the time I was beginning my sophomore year and taking chemistry, things really started going crazy. Like, the instant I saw, like, a pretty girl, I became a lovesick puppy. I'm sorry, I was. Now, I want to make one thing clear. I am not a pervert, alright? I never stared below a girl's face, okay? I want to establish that. I said this before, I'll say it again, I'm proud of this fact. Almost 31 years old, never has a woman ever said to me, my eyes are up here, okay? because it proves that I'm not a pervert, I'm not a pig or anything like that. But because really all it took for me to like a girl was, how pretty her face was. And it was in that class when I did notice that there were quite a few, pretty good-looking girls. Again, in the face area. But what really didn't help me, and this is where it gets funny. Now, back then it was horrifying, but now it's better. No kidding. At the time, one of the top contenders for the prettiest girl in the entirety of Horsides High School was sitting directly behind me because, again, alphabetical order. My last name begins with a C, C-U, and her name last name began with the letter G. So, when I say we were practically next to each other, I'm not kidding. And, whenever I had to pass papers back, she was just so pretty, And in case any of you guys are wondering, yes, she was a cheerleader. And again, one of the prettiest girls that I frankly had ever seen. And it was even sadder when you consider the fact that apparently, at least at the time, she did have a boyfriend. An older boyfriend who was away at college apparently. Which I kind of thought that was weird. Because, you're going to college, moving on. See, that's actually, I don't think I've ever actually said this before, but if I ever date anyone, I don't want it to be anyone who's younger than I am. Just because of stuff like that. Not to mention, how often do you see in the media where it's an older guy with a young girl? I don't want to be like that. It's creepy, it's made fun of all the time. I don't want to fall into that stereotype. That's why, honestly, if I date a girl, it's my age or older. This girl who was sitting behind me was a grade older, so a year older than I am. So, pretty close, right? But, man, this is the kind of pretty girl where you just see her eyes, and you were completely you were dazed. I was completely I was completely love struck. That's how pretty this girl was. And not just that girl, but lots of other girls, not just in my class, not just in my chemistry class either, but everywhere at Horsides. Yeah, one thing I don't think I ever mentioned at Horsides, there were a lot of pretty girls at that school when I was there. I wouldn't know now because, again, I'm not a creep. Or a pervert for that matter. But at the time, you had all these pretty girls. Which made things even more depressing when you consider the fact that I was turned down by practically every single one of them. To some capacity. Whether they said they had a boyfriend that happened to not be there, or something akin to that nature, or something else. I was shot down a lot for, a couple of reasons. The main one I never really get into because it's personal for me. In fact, I'll be talking a little bit about that on Monday, come to think of it. So, with that said, with how much I was just love struck with every girl that I saw, and how hard chemistry was for me, you're probably thinking when it got time to take the Regents exam, I completely bombed it, right? Well, I told you I wasn't kidding when I said that the two lowest Regents exam grades were both 74s. They were both English, which I will be getting into at some point in the future, and Math B. So did I completely fail chemistry? Not at all. In fact, it's one of the many Regents exam grades I got in the 80s. Unfortunately, again, I don't quite remember what grade it was. I think it might have been like an 83 or 80, somewhere in that range. I mean, again, how I did on any of my Regents exams is completely arbitrary now because, I mean, again, I'm going to be turning 31 in a few weeks. You know, I have my high school education. I have my college education. You know, how I did on a Regents exam really doesn't matter at this point. So, was it complete and utter nightmare? In some instances, yeah. But I can look back on that sort of thing. Because, you know, I moved on. And, you know, to that girl who I mentioned who was sitting behind me, to be honest, I have no idea where she is or what she's doing. All I hope is that she's doing okay and living a happy life. And that's actually what I hope that everyone does. Especially at this time of year. Especially at this time of year, this year, in 2020. By the time we get to New Year's Eve this year, we're going to be saying that one Christmas carol, "May our troubles be miles away." We're going to be wishing that 2020 is utter universes away at this point, you know? But, yeah. All in all, I had fun having, I had a memorable chemistry class, and, you know, I did learn a lot of stuff, and some stuff I learned, to this day, I mean, again, that one lab experiment I told you guys earlier, that, you know, it's, you know, with the Cool container and the ice and the salt and the milk and cream in the Ziploc bag and you shake it up like that and make ice cream. That's a great thing to do with kids. That's a great thing. You know, make homemade ice cream. That's great. You can do that. I still remember that after all this time. So, yeah. Although with that being said, I just find it a lot easier to buy ice cream at the store. I actually got myself some ice cream last night, actually. I'm going to get dinner for my folks. So, yeah. It was a memorable class. Naturally, of course, I'm glad I took it. I have some fond memories. And, you know, don't really have much else to say other than, you know, again, I took chemistry. And it had its fair share of ups and downs, but I like to say that through it all, you know, it was worthwhile, and I'm very glad I took it. I met and still know some wonderful people even to this day. Now, if you really want a science class that I completely and utterly struggled in to the bitter end, well, join me again next week when I talk about when I took physics. That's going to be something you don't want to miss. Like, favorite, share, hit the subscribe button, follow me on the social media platform, turn because you YouTube. I'm very home in this video for all of you guys who watch the show today. Hopefully you all have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And remember that you guys want to talk to channel is going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.